Ongoing disaster relief funding crisis has sparked a tense standoff between the White House and the Congress, each blaming the other for delays in providing aid to disaster victims. The Biden administration has criticized Congress for failing to approve additional funds, leaving communities affected by natural disasters like Hurricanes Helen and Milton without sufficient support. On the other hand, Republican lawmakers, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, argue that the White House has not fully utilized available resources, insisting that Congress should wait until after the November elections to address the funding shortfall. The exhaustion of the National Loan Program, which provides critical assistance to small businesses and homeowners, has worsened the situation. The Small Business Administration has run out of money to issue new loans, and nearly half of FEMA's disaster relief funds have already been spent. While Congress did approve $20 billion in disaster relief before going on recess, this funding is insufficient to meet the increasing demand brought by a frequent and a severe natural disaster. Johnson's decision to keep Congress in a recess until after the election has drawn criticism, as many believe lawmakers should return to address the funding gap immediately. Johnson had maintained that there is no need for a Congress to act hastily, arguing that the Biden administration has enough resources to meet current needs. However, the urgency of the situation has led to growing pressure on lawmakers to reconvene sooner, especially as a public frustration mounts over the government's inability to provide timely assistance. The comparison to foreign aid spending has further fueled a public anger. Critics argue that while the US government has allocated billions to support international conflicts, domestic disaster relief remains underfunded. This has led many to question the government's priorities, with some calling for a focus on addressing crisis at home before committing resources abroad. Looking ahead, there are discussions about passing an emergency funding bill during pro forma sessions, which would allow for a quicker approval of disaster relief funds. However, any lawmaker could block such a measures, complicating the process. Both the White House and the Congress acknowledge the need for a bipartisan cooperation to resolve the funding crisis, but political gridlock continues to delay action. In the meantime, disaster victims are left waiting for relief, with many small businesses and homeowners facing an uncertain future. This situation highlights the challenges of navigating disaster relief in a politically divided Washington, where the interests of affected Americans are often overshadowed by partisan conflicts.